My name is Titus. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of the parent company, Medical Marijuana Incorporated. We're a publicly traded company. We've been public since March of 2009. For those of you who are new, here our ticker symbol MJNA on the OTC markets. And for the last 5 years, we've been, and almost 6 years now, we've been exclusively devoted to the world of the non-psychoactive cannabinoids, and particularly that of CBD or cannabidiol. This is a new up-and-coming therapeutic modality that certainly is capturing the attention of the world, as we really have seen a tremendous movement over the past years into the medicinal aspects of cannabis, and of course cannabis being the parent plant, if you will, two offspring. You have your marijuana, THC on one side with a psychoactive effect. The other side, you have industrial hemp with a huge amount of industrial applications, as well as the possibility of growing a high concentration of the non-psychoactive cannabinoids, CBD, cannabidiol, in a hemp crop. And this is what we have done going back to the fall of 2011, bringing our first raw hemp oil from Europe into the U.S., going back to the fall of 11, and then early in 2012 we had our first nutraceutical products on the marketplace, and certainly it's caught the attention of the world since then. We were the first publicly traded company in this particular space, medical marijuana, industrial hemp, CBD, etc. There are now 230 successive followers who've come along and try to emulate what we have done. So it's been very interesting to be part of this right from the very start. Going back to when Medical Marijuana Inc. was founded, I had the opportunity to be one of the first investors. In fact, I was the number 7 investor in the company, just having seen the vision and future of this amazing industry. Certainly we think that once this is fully developed, we're going to add a tremendous amount of sustainable, renewable jobs to the American economy, tremendous amount of employment, and certainly percentage points back to our national gross domestic product. So very exciting to be part of the overall movement and see it come to such a great interest among the general public. Our company, we have 4 divisions that are in nutraceutical sales, and our flagship company for many years has been Hemp Meds, and this company sells, again, natural botanical hemp-based CBD products. We also have this wonderful enterprise that has been just growing leaps and bounds over the past few months, Kannaway, and certainly Kannaway was developed more as a lifestyle company where we believe everybody should be taking 50 milligrams of CBD daily to supplement the largest self-regulatory system in the human body, the endogenous cannabinoid system. And from there we've gone into skincare products, and now with the addition of a couple of new products in our line, the premium hemp oil blend, as well as the new Kannaway Gold product. We think we give the representatives here, and again I can maybe say this more in a closed loop network, more therapeutic options, and we're certainly excited about that because we've had tremendous stories of success and great testimony over in Hemp Meds for many years. We're now starting to get some of these amazing stories coming into Kannaway, and certainly excited about the future here. I mentioned there are 4 divisions in the nutraceutical sales. We also have 2 investment companies that are in pharmaceutical development that we're majority shareholders in. Axim Biotechnologies, this is actually a publicly traded company, AXIM, the ticker symbol on the OTC markets. Axim is developing cannabinoids for various therapeutic applications, mostly clinical study research over in European markets. Interestingly enough, we believe that this time next year they'll actually have a European-approved cannabis-based product with an indication for pain, and we think that cannabinoids are going to eventually replace and certainly change the way future of pain management is performed here in the U.S. We've had this unfortunate, terrible opioid overdose epidemic that is just something that seems that opioids are on the way out, cannabinoids are on the way in. We think the future of pain management will be a high-dose cannabinoid, low-dose opioid medication that patients will likely embrace. Certainly in many medical cannabis states, we've already seen a tremendous shift away from patients spending on opioids and Medicare Part D. That's your prescription drug coverage. They're now just seeming to go to dispensaries, pay cash out of pocket to get natural botanical cannabis because it's helping in so many ways. And certainly the fact many of these patients don't necessarily want the high effect, but they want the therapeutic effect, we think there's a great place for natural botanical hemp-based CBD. So anyway, that's Axon Biotech researching pain and other indications over in Europe. Our company here in the U.S. with 2 license agreements from our National Institutes of Health, Kannaway Sciences, and we're certainly excited about their future development. First indication from the NIH to develop a cannabinoid-based medication to treat a liver-brain disorder called hepatic encephalopathy. This is brought out by long-term opiate use or excess alcohol abuse, and certainly our early-stage preclinical as well as animal testing models have shown significant benefit with their cannabinoid-based product. And the second indication for Kannaway Sciences is to develop a medication, a cannabinoid-based medication to treat traumatic brain injury, or CTE, if you will. And Kannaway has these license agreements from our NIH, which I guess I need to take a moment to step back just a little bit, that yes, of course, on the law enforcement side of the U.S. government, the DEA, which would say that cannabis, all forms of cannabis, including CBD and the rest, are all federally controlled substances with no medicinal use, et cetera, et cetera. Yet on the research side of the government, there's a huge amount of research showing tremendous application for a wide variety of conditions. Going back to 1999, a research group, including Nobel Prize winning laureate Dr. Julius Axelrod, started to research cannabinoids. In 2003, they were awarded a patent from the U.S. government, actually, and this is titled Cannabinoids as Antioxidants and Neuroprotectants. Very technically, this patent number is 6630507. So for those of you new to my presentations, this is certainly one of the great numbers. I would encourage you to go up and just look this up, 6630507. You'll see a tremendous amount of benefits, including benefits for your anti-inflammatory, antioxidant capabilities. So great benefit for your metabolic syndrome patients. And here you've got your heart, PTSD, and other things. Certainly we've had great success, and there's a great body of growing anecdotal evidence here in the U.S. about how CBD helps children with epileptic seizure disorders. Certainly there are many autism parents who've been using CBD because many of these epileptic children also have autism, and it does seem that this is helping the children to develop more normally, to communicate better, etc. So the U.S. government patent has these tremendous applications, and we're really proud to have the only pharma-based company with 2 license agreements from the NIH to help commercialize the therapeutic aspects of this amazing patent. And certainly our products, being natural botanical, have significant advantages, we believe, over the pharmaceutically developed versions. There is a group here in the U.S. Studying the pharmaceutical application of CBD for epilepsy and epileptic children. I think if you look at the results that they're getting and compare it to the results that we're getting with some of our early stage studies in Mexico and in Brazil with epilepsy children, I think we're getting at least double the results of what the pharma company is getting, and all without any negative adverse or other side effects, which certainly 30% of the pharmaceutical-based group seems to be having these unfortunate adverse side effects to where the children have actually had to drop out of the study. So really great, interesting early-stage research. We believe that the fact that the botanical product is so much far superior to the pharmaceutical-developed product is that when you have a pharma-developed product, basically you're taking what might be considered the active ingredient or ingredients in a plant and trying to extract that and kind of compound this in a way that of course, if, the thinking is a little bit is good for you, a lot's going to be great for you. Well, certainly you look at the pharmaceutical meds today, of course, many do have some great therapeutic benefits for individuals, but also has a little bit of a risk with it, your side effects, et cetera, et cetera. When you have a natural botanical plant, such as we do, we not only have a high concentration of CBD, the non-psychoactive cannabinoid, but also a great number of other medicinal compounds and therapeutic compounds, things such as terpenoids, flavonoids, your plant waxes, chlorophyll, etc. all work synergistically together to produce this amazing magnified, or what we call an entourage effect. And thus we get much better results with the combination of all the plant ingredients versus the pharmaceutically developed version. I think this bodes extremely well for the future of our business, and certainly for the future of Kannaway representatives as we continue to expand our outreach not only throughout the U.S. but all throughout the world. We have some great new developing markets. Recently, even in Canada, where CBD has been a controlled substance, Health Canada, the regulatory authority, is looking to change that, allowing for special importation permits into the country of CBD just because it's non-psychoactive and thus preferable to use. Even that U.S. government patent I mentioned earlier was talking about the fact that non-psychoactive cannabinoids such as cannabidiol are much preferable to use because with your psychoactive cannabinoids, even just a very small amount, let's just say 5 milligrams of THC, well, that's enough to knock me out on the couch for a good 8 to 10, 12 hours with this, what they call couch lock type effect. And that's just part of what happens when you get into these psychoactive cannabinoids. But this morning, for example, I took 50 milligrams of CBD, didn't have any negative or adverse effects. In fact, I felt great. I felt mentally sharp, alert, clear, lucid, conversant. And I do this on a daily basis just as a matter of overall health and wellness. Certainly, research going back to the mid-1980s shows that we all have this tremendous self-regulatory system within the human body known as the endogenous cannabinoid system. And this is a characteristic not only of us humans, but also all mammalian creatures. So your horses, dogs, fish, etc., all have this endogenous cannabinoid system, and to supplement this with the plant-based cannabinoids we feel is tremendously therapeutic. Our human bodies actually do produce internal, or what we call endogenous cannabinoids, and unfortunately these are very quickly degraded by enzymatic activity, so they don't really have a very long shelf life. It's only when you're doing extreme exercise, like running a marathon or other extreme forms of exercise, where you produce enough internal cannabinoids to overcome this enzymatic degradation. And when that happens, you start to develop a good amount of these endogenous cannabinoids through this extreme exercise, people experience this bliss-like effect known as the runner's high. And the runner's high is really a release of the endogenous cannabinoid known as anandamide, as well as endorphins, which are also feel-good chemicals. The endorphins are kind of responsible for the body high because they don't cross the blood-brain barrier, where anandamide and these cannabinoids do actually cross the blood-brain barrier, so it gives you that wonderful bliss-like effect. But of course, many of us, we don't really get into extreme exercise. We don't run marathons every day, and thus we really believe that the plant-based cannabinoids will help supplement this very large self-regulatory system, because plant cannabinoids in the human body have a much longer shelf life, if you will. They're not degraded by this enzymatic activity, and certainly when you look at the huge network of receptor sites in our bodies for these endogenous, or for the cannabinoids, we really think that this is really going to rewrite the future of medicine as we know it. Certainly the future of neurological medicine. This is going to be something that once the research comes forth, we believe this is going to start a whole new chapter in the way we treat these neurological conditions and disorders. Speaking of the neurological system and basically your cannabinoid receptors throughout the body, our brains contain a significant amount of what are called CB1 receptors, and these are cannabinoid-based receptor sites. basically of all the neurotransmitter receptor sites in the human body, the CB1 receptor is the most widely expressed receptor site, and not only the brain, but also along the spinal column and the central nervous system, and in the other glands and organs throughout the body. You have a tremendous amount of CB1 receptors. Your CB2 receptors, interestingly enough, are expressed in the internal organs, the gut, the viscera of the body, and this helps to regulate immune function. So here, between the CB1 and the CB2, we have a huge amount of receptor sites for cannabinoids, and the fact that we're not actually able to take these on a regular basis without breaking the law or whatever is just an absolute crime. Very fortunate for us that back in 2004 there was some federal regulation that actually allowed hemp food products into the country. And of course, hemp food products, your hemp seed oil, hemp protein powder, are extremely nutritious. They have your essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, which help build protein. Certainly these are all called essential because your body needs to get these from your diet. You can't naturally synthesize them internally. Going back to your essential fatty acids, these are great food for your brain, basically the food that we run on, and the fact that most of us are essential fatty acid deficient is unfortunate in society today, and the fact that we're going to be able to bring hemp food products back to the U.S. Hopefully you'll be able to soon grow hemp products here in the United States is going to, I think, tremendously revolutionize not only our economy but also our overall health and wellness. So your essential fatty acids, your essential amino acids, and then immune boosting proteins called immunoglobulins, and these are very much part of the body's immune process. Basically, these immunoglobulins are a fantastic part of industrial hemp. So anyway, hemp seed is very nutritious, and of course now we're able to grow a high concentration CBD in with this hemp crop and bring people to this much higher level of overall health and wellness. Beyond your cannabinoid receptors, I mentioned the CB1, the CB2 receptors. There are also what are called G protein coupled receptor sites. The action of CBD on these G protein coupled receptor sites is basically the reason, according to Dr. Moran of New York University Hospital, this is the reason that we're having such great success in reducing epileptic seizure disorders in children. So these receptor sites, these G protein coupled receptor sites, basically are responsible for the action of 800 genes in our human genomic sequence, or about 4% of the overall sequence. And this may be part of the reason why we're having such great success with certain forms of genetically inherited epilepsy and other disorders. We've seen things such as CDKL5 epilepsy, which is named for the defective CDKL5 gene, your FOXG1 epilepsy, again named for a defective gene, etc. We've seen certain other genetic defects have tremendous turnaround with our products on 6 to 8 months worth of use. We're very excited about the future of research. Here in San Diego, our local group called Illumina, it's another biotech company. They're researching the entire genomic sequence. We're looking to develop a relationship with them to be able to better quantify exactly how CBD and cannabinoids are affecting the genetic sequence. So we're excited about developing this relationship and having future announcements over the years. Beyond this, the human body also has what are called vanilloid pain receptor sites, and cannabinoids have a very strong affinity for those particular receptor sites. So I believe this is part of why many people use cannabis to help control pain. Certainly, we believe that the future of pain medicine is really a high-dose cannabinoid, low-dose opioid medication, and certainly many people do very well with just cannabinoids in terms of that. And then throughout the body, gosh, a number of places in the brain, we have a huge expression of receptor sites, say your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, then the amygdala, and then going through the body, your thyroid gland, your adrenal glands all have CB1 receptor sites. Your kidneys, your lungs also have these receptor sites. And thus, with a tremendous amount of receptor sites through the body, we really believe the future of cannabis and cannabinoid-based medications, as the kind of the grandfather of all cannabis-based medication, Dr. Raphael McCoolum states that once cannabis and cannabinoid medications are fully researched out, we believe we can replace as much as 40% of all pharmaceutical medications. So that provides a tremendous opportunity for us, and here in Kannaway we've developed these amazing products, which some of them of course have tremendous therapeutic benefit. We believe that taking 50 milligrams of CBD daily will help someone to naturally just supplement the largest self-regulatory system in the human body, the endogenous cannabinoid system. And this system basically is involved in all types of regulatory action, things such as mood, sleep, appetite, hormone production, digestion of food, and even metabolism all tend to fall under the domain of this endogenous cannabinoid system. And these plant-based cannabinoids are a great way to supplement that. Beyond just taking and ingesting CBD products on a daily basis, we have great skincare products. I'm thrilled about our skincare. I think it's some of the best product we totally have, and including our what we call our detox bath soap. This is a tremendous formulation that helps pull toxicity from the body. We believe every post-chemotherapy patient should be on this product 2-3 times a week. It's very relaxing just before going to bed. A good soak is something that I think we've seen some great benefit with. Some people even just do a simple foot soak with it. But it's nice to see that in Mexico, where they're a little bit more progressive than perhaps we are here, in terms of cannabinoid-based medicine by definition, or the way we've been able to legalize our product in Mexico is by doctor prescription. Actually, speaking of this, I probably should go back to April of 2014, where our products were first accepted into the country of Brazil. Again, here it's available by doctor prescription for the indication of refractory epilepsy. Again, this is a form of epilepsy that's resistant to any pharmaceutical medication, and the fact that our products seemed to work when all the other pharma products didn't was something that was brought to the attention of the regulatory authority in Brazil called Anvisa, and in a very short period of time, once they did their own research, they said, my gosh, well, it'd be inhumane for us to keep this from our people, and further, that the government of Brazil has actually decided to reimburse patients for their expenditures on our product through the national health care insurance system. So anyone with a prescription for our product within the country of Brazil can legally import it. We can send it into the country. Certainly quite exciting to see the development in that country now. We service a good number of families, and that the program has gone so well with children that all of a sudden the government is looking to expand the potential application for this product into other neurological conditions. So we look forward to future clinical study and research to be able to move this forward. Similarly, the country of Mexico, February 1st, 2016, accepted our products, again by doctor prescription, for the treatment of refractory epilepsy. And here, as more patients have been able to experience our product, the number of indications has been able to be expanded. And what I was just getting at with the detox bath soap is that recently we had a doctor write a prescription that was approved by the government for a post-chemotherapy rehabilitation patient. And certainly many of these patients are terribly devitalized. Their endogenous cannabinoid systems are certainly decimated with the chemo and the radiation, et cetera, and the way to rebuild, we believe, is with these plant-based cannabinoids. So, of course, many of your post-cancer patients have terrible pain issues, depression, nausea, vomiting. They have loss of appetite, sleep disorders, and of course doctors can prescribe 6 different medications, all with differing drug interactions, side effects, etc. Or we believe they can prescribe our CBD products, and combine that with a detox bath soap. I think is a phenomenal protocol, and hopefully this is something that we can get this established within Mexico, then potentially expand this throughout the world. Given that, I just love our Kannaway products in that regard. Talking about our skincare products, we also have a Can Active product, which is a very natural alternative to Proactive. Of course, many teenagers have terrible acne issues, and there are a lot of side effects with this Proactive that is very popular in the market. We now developed this Can Active product, a more natural botanical solution, and we think we're going to make some great strides and inroads in that particular market. We have a wonderful hemp vape product. It's a nice vapor product that I know it's kind of a kid's thing to smoke a vape pen. It's kind of like smoking a cigarette a little bit, but truly there are some medicinal aspects to it. I know we still need to do some research to be able to prove this out, but just our anecdotal evidence, we have many head injury patients who seem that the vape is very readily absorbed up into the brain. Also with the lungs, it seems to be a bronchodilator. We have many COPD patients, that's chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, difficulty breathing and all. It does seem the vape product just allows for the expansion of those airways and much easier breathing. Of course, one of the great products we have is our topical application salve that can be used for various problem areas on the body. I think this is one of the great products. We're actually looking to potentially upgrade this for a more deep, penetrating one for the sporting athletes. We have a new energy chew, which has a little bit of caffeine in it, and certainly your CBD, a very much more natural alternative to Red Bull or any of the other stimulants. Certainly excited about these products and new products that will hopefully be coming to the Kannaway network in the very near future. This might even include hemp protein powder. We're working on a relationship with a group out of Canada to bring a hemp protein powder, which will be combined with marine phytoplankton, very significant aspect of the marine sea life. This phytoplankton with all the whales and other fish tend to feed on, tremendous source of essential nutrients, particularly rare or trace minerals, that the combination of your hemp protein along with the marine phytoplankton I think would be a great everyday use product for those coming into the Kannaway network. We're also looking to develop a pet treat line that we're just working to bring a group in-house to develop this internally. Should be very exciting for the future. And of course, the clinical study and research, as time goes along, we believe the future of these cannabinoid-based therapeutics will prove itself out, and certainly this will be much more in the mainstream. I know a couple of years ago, back when we first started CBD, no one knew what it was, and next thing you know, all of a sudden they're kind of the specialty marijuana community who, people who are regular cannabis users, all of a sudden, there's some interesting potential to this CBD, and then we had epilepsy families start to use the product, and the next thing you know is really a great groundswell, but still, by and large, the average person in America isn't really particularly well educated, and as time goes along, we think the outreach with Kannaway, which is really a belly-to-belly, door-to-door type of marketing approach, is a great way for us to increase the awareness and certainly improve the quality of people's lives. We believe that these products have a tremendous kind of a preventative aspect just by supplementing this very large self-regulatory system. Everyone seems to move to a much higher level of overall health and wellness. I do a lot of integrative and alternative procedures, and over the years I've learned a lot about integrative medicine. I've had the opportunity myself to be a patient going back many years with a terrible nerve-related disorder, and CBD was a tremendous life-saving therapeutic application for me. Probably without it today I might not even be alive, but quite honestly, so I've had the personal experience of suffering with this terrible nerve-related disorder and overcoming these tremendous challenges. And now I lecture and speak, travel around the globe. I keep a very busy lifestyle, and I'm able to do that because I believe I've reversed a lot of years by taking hemp CBD. And even the U.S. government patent mentions the anti-aging benefits to this. And certainly keeping your brain and neurological system healthy has a tremendous overall impact throughout the body. Now, there's a great aspect of hemp now being researched for its electrical component. Believe it or not, there is a concept of hemp batteries, just because hemp is such a good electrical conductor. It stores a tremendous amount of energy, so it may revolutionize the way we store energy from solar applications. It's got great implications for electric automobiles, just to extend the range, again, because hemp is so electrically conductive. And of course, once we can start to grow it in very large volumes here in the U.S., the price is going to come way, way down as well. So very exciting. But of course, when you look in medicine, there are a huge number of medical applications that measure electrical activity in the human body. All the pharmaceutical companies and the rest like to look at the chemical side because that's what they're involved with, but we're truly electrochemical beings. And the electrical side is something that we routinely measure in medicine. Your EKG, your electrocardiogram, measuring the electrical activity of the heart. EEG, your electrical activity of the brain. There's EMG, or electromyography, that's done in the physical therapy office, looking at the electrical activity of the muscles, particularly those muscles that are in spasm. You're going to have a very high and abnormally high electrical activity. Your neurologists also measure the electrical conductivity of the nerves in your nerve conduction studies. And though we routinely measure the electrical activities of the body, we never think to treat the body with these same electrical signals that we routinely measure. And it's so interesting that hemp and CBD has this amazing electrical property, so that, for example, you have a young child who has epileptic seizure disorders. The child's getting right in the middle of an epileptic seizure. Parent places a drop of CBD oil under the tongue, and the seizure many times just stops right in its tracks. There isn't a time for all these thousands of different chemical reactions to take place. There's really more an electrical cell signaling type mechanism that's going on here, and we really believe the future of medicine certainly to look at these interesting applications, not only of the chemical side but also on the electrical side, which of course our overall vitality, our chi, our life force is really measured in terms of electrical activity within us. And we think there's some great applications there. Some of my advanced studies and presentations before medical doctors, I talked to this effect a little bit more, but certainly it's great for you all to know that not only is there a great chemical side to what happens in the body with these cannabinoids, but also the electrical component we believe is equally important. Again, throughout the world, there's a huge amount of research going on. We have seen great things that CBD seems to improve the nutrient absorption across the cell membrane. This is particularly evident with a study showing how CBD targets the mitochondria of the cell to regulate intercellular calcium levels. So actually, CBD helps the cells of the body to absorb calcium. And this has got great implication for osteoporosis and for other bone fractures and other rare bone diseases. There are 2 pharma development companies in the U.S. are researching the bone disorders just because of this one study showing how CBD helps to improve the nutrient absorption across the cell membrane. The study also shows that CBD targets the mitochondria of the cell, and with this I should probably mention a new concept emerging in science called clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. And here, many of us, of course, cannabis has been kind of eradicated from our diets, hemp seed, the rest for the past 3.5 generations or so, and of course many of us are cannabinoid deficient. And it does seem from these research studies that patients who are cannabinoid deficient will develop these very difficult to treat conditions. Things such as fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, migraine headache, inflammatory bowel syndrome, etc., all seem to fall into this category. Very interesting that patients who start to take plant-based cannabinoids seem to come up to a much higher level of health and wellness. So I mentioned this study showing how CBD targets the mitochondria of the cell, And the mitochondria, as we know from our early stage of biology, basically this is the powerhouse of the cell. The mitochondria produce the ATP energy reserves, ATP basically being the fuel the body burns for energy and activity. So we have many of these fatigue patients starting to take our product, and all of a sudden they find, my gosh, well, we've got much more energy, they're able to do more routine daily tasks and chores, etc. Or athletes start to take our product, and all of a sudden their performance goes well up because, again, they're more efficient in the production of energy through the mitochondria of the cells. So this is great research going on in that particular arena. But then there are other conditions. Of course, I mentioned the pharma company doing research on epilepsy here in the U.S. and how our natural botanical products, with 2 research studies that are just in process of being published out of Mexico, showing significant improvement. One study would show that GW, or the Pharma Development Company, studying epilepsy is getting about a 36.5% average reduction in seizures. We've had one study show a 67% average reduction in seizure activity, and another study showing an 86% reduction in average seizure activity. So this bodes very well for the natural botanical product. And again, the farmer-developed product seems to have about 30% showing adverse side effects. On the botanical side, 0 side effects. In fact, the only real side effect, if you will, better mood, better cognition, better appetite, better sleep activities, more normal development with the child, better communication, etc. So we see a tremendous application here, not only with epilepsy, but also in these other childhood development disorders, to hopefully bring these children back up to the more normal level for where the parents would expect them to be. Certainly it's improving many families' qualities of life. We're certainly excited about that. In San Diego, we've had some great research by Dr. David Schubert at the Salk Institute regarding Alzheimer's disease. And here, for the past 25 years or so, we've had many pharma development companies try to find an answer for the unfortunate downward progression of this Alzheimer's dementia. Excuse me. Once a patient seems to get into this mode, then all of a sudden there really is not anything that's going to bring them back out of this unfortunate downward progression cycle. And pharma companies have been trying, as I mentioned, for many years, about 190 different tries, according to Bloomberg, and Big Pharma is 0 for 190 tries. Well, here's Dr. David Schubert just last summer publishing some amazing research showing cannabinoids not only reduce brain inflammation, but also the buildup of the toxic protein in the brain called beta amyloid that basically is the characteristic of Alzheimer's disease. And the fact that cannabinoids seem to have this amazing effect bodes very well for the future of Alzheimer's care. Here in the U.S., currently there are 5.4 million Americans with Alzheimer's. Our national health care system this year is going to spend about $230 billion on Alzheimer's care. And by the year 2050, the incidence is expected to rise to between 15 and 20 million Americans, going to cost our national health care system in excess of $1 trillion. And we all may be sitting right on the precipice of a wonderful cure. I think the research over the years may prove this out. We've just had research last Tuesday, it was announced from Stanford University that Alzheimer's dementia, the onset of Alzheimer's dementia, is brought about by a deficiency of endogenous cannabinoids. Wow, that's just showing amazing potential for our products down the road. Certainly, I'm excited about the metabolic syndrome that I mentioned earlier, your heart disease, cardiovascular, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes patients, because again, lowering the body's inflammatory markers seems to have a tremendous effect. We've seen many diabetes patients with very elevated A1C markers all of a sudden start to come down into the more normal range with 6 to 8 weeks worth of therapy. It's very interesting that we have one epilepsy family here in San Diego County who had tremendous success with a genetically inherited form of epilepsy with their daughter, but the father was diabetic, and so we started taking our products just to see if it might help his diabetes. Well, sure enough, it lowered his markers to the point where he started to be able to wean himself off of insulin. My gosh, we think in a few years with certain product and development, we might actually have a specific product just for that particular condition. So the industry truly is at a very ground floor. Everything today is at such a ground floor level. This is an amazing time to get into the business, and certainly we welcome everyone in as best we can with our products, support. We've really been able to bring in a tremendous group about 8-10 months ago, which of course you've heard from Blake Schrader earlier. He's had tremendous success in the direct sales industry over years, developing business for Mona V, the acai berry company, bringing that from zero to almost $800 million a year in sales. Certainly we're on a great trajectory here. Time to build a business, just as the overall awareness of some of the beneficial therapeutic aspects of cannabinoids become researched. I'm certainly on the front edge of this, just with medical presentations. We certainly see some great benefit for things such as cancer. Very early stage research yet, but CBD does seem to be able to, in certain instances of metastatic cancer, be able to switch off a defective gene that causes the metastasis of cancer. So this bodes extremely well for future research. In terms of leukemia, we also see that CBD activates certain enzymatic pathways, which again allow the body to start to recognize these harmful cancer cells as actually being harmful, and then further to cause this programmed cell death, what we call site or apoptosis. Certainly excited about the future of research here. There's great research on CBD in terms of neuroblastoma, a very aggressive form of brain cancer, another type of cancer. A pharmaceutical company just had last week a great announcement showing significant success with another type of brain cancer called glioblastoma multiforme, and I believe that certainly they have been able to keep patients alive for a much greater period of time than the traditional pharmaceutical medications, because in the last 12 years, according to USA Today, the new cancer drugs on the market have extended lifespan by 2.1 months. And here's a pharma company using cannabinoids with a very aggressive form of brain cancer, keeping these patients alive for well over a year beyond expectations. So with that, I really think that we're sitting on the kind of a powder keg, if you will. It's about to explode and take off. I couldn't be more excited about where we're going with Kannaway. I would love to be able to take additional questions from people. Again, the research around the globe showing that some tremendous benefit, but many places around the world looking to research these cannabinoids. And again, I can't thank you enough for the time and being involved here. Certainly, we look forward to being at many events around the country. I believe we're in Denver, March 18th. We'll be on Long Island, New York. We'll be in Phoenix coming up in May. Certainly,
Orange County also in March.
Orange County in March as well, yes.
Okay, so stay here with me. There are a couple of questions that have been posed to me by people on the session. Questions, by the way, that are appropriately answered by Dr. Titus that are not necessarily appropriately answered by an individual brand ambassador. So I will let you answer the questions as one speaking from authority, and I caution you all folks to recognize and realize that we are not doctors, we're not prescribing medication to people. I will pose questions to Dr. Titus that would be viewed as generic, but certainly we can't take that information and make a specific recommendation or diagnosis or anything like that for another. But the question would be, one question was posed whether there are studies that indicate that CBD has any antibiotic capacity. Are there any studies that show that or no?
So yes, the studies that have been done on CBD, certainly I know it's a little difficult thing for us selling products, because we really can't make a claim about what the product does or whatever, just because we haven't done enough clinical research to be able to get to that point. But slowly this is coming along. But there is truly a very interesting antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal property to cannabis as well as to CBD. There has been some studies showing the great effects. Certainly, we've had many people with advanced conditions, things such as Lyme disease, have great success with it. Where generally the traditional pharmaceutical medication, just antibiotic, and of course that destroys your natural probiotics. So this is a more natural approach. Certainly there are a tremendous amount of immunoglobulins, which are basically protein that help support immune function, and particularly IgG1, immunoglobulin gamma 1, very technically, has shown a tremendous benefit for immune boosting capabilities, and so I'll certainly be able to provide some information on the antibiotic type of effects. There are also some very strong immunosuppressant type effects. There's one pharma company actually studying what's called graft versus host rejection, such as those who get stem cell injection or organ transplants. Many times the body will reject that foreign organ, but it does seem that CBD has an effect to be able to bring homeostasis back to where the body then will accept that organ as natural and not go through the rejection process.
Very well. One of the participants on today's call indicated that she had a daughter with autism. And of course, you're not her prescribing physician, that's not it. But if you had a daughter with autism, what would you be having them use of the products that we offer, and in what quantity?
Well, certainly I'm very excited about what we're doing here. We have a school called the Terry School in Oceanside. Many of the families here with autistic children, and they're looking to get about 20 families together for an informational study. We also have a doctor in Mexico who's done an epilepsy study for us, looking to do an autism study, and to be able to better quantify our results. So the Kannaway Gold product would be one that I would recommend for daytime use. It's our highest concentration CBD product, and of course it's wonderful to have it now available in Kannaway. It's a 24% CBD oil, and of course then the premium hemp oil blend, which I believe would be great for nighttime use.
And what would be, in what quantity?
Yeah, well, I think we would prescribe for a child. Of course, a lot would depend upon the weight. I would probably say maybe half the adult dose, so maybe it would be 1/4 of a gram of the gold product for daytime use, and then 1/4 of a gram of the premium hemp oil blend for nighttime use. I know the products don't taste particularly well, so some children have a little difficulty taking it on the paste form, but of course we have these nice liquid forms that many families, of course, you got very young children with unfortunate epilepsy disorders, and so they could just put the product on a spoon, feed it to the child that way, and I think that's proven to be quite successful for many families.
Great. Another participant on the session referenced the fact that they had a family member currently undergoing chemotherapy, and there was a question of whether you would suggest that a person use the hemp oil post-chemo or during the regimen of chemotherapy.
Right. Well, certainly there's a little debate on this. If it was me, I probably would be using it during chemo. Obviously, you want the medication to work on the areas of the body it's supposed to be working, but once that particular organ or part of the body has absorbed the chemotherapy, the balance of it, you want to eliminate as quickly as you can, so it doesn't have a longer effect or an unfortunate negative effect on other parts of the body. So certainly our detox bath soak is something I would definitely recommend, and of course to support this large self-regulatory system, our strongest grade products, the Kannaway Gold for daytime use, and the premium hemp oil blend we think has some better abilities to just be more of a lock and key type of effect on the CB1 receptor, causing tremendous central nervous system relaxation. So many people would use that for sleep. And I think the combination, again, of the detox bath soap, the gold during the day, the green, the premium oil at night would be the very best. Okay.
And also, our company's basic health premise is that to maintain good health, one should be consuming 50 milligrams per day. What about an individual who has a current significant health scare going on? If we are to be consuming 50 milligrams of CBD per day to maintain good health, if I today had a significant health scare going on, what would you advise me?
Well, here we have many patients, and again, this is just from anecdotal testimony. We're still, working to develop specific protocols, dosing measures for doctors, etc. but many people do between 150 and 250 milligrams of CBD for a therapeutic regimen. Many people would do this for a 60-day period and then kind of back off to the more normal maintenance type dose, if you will. And I think this is something we've seen. Many people with some very advanced health challenges have some great recovery. I can't say it's worked universally, but certainly, the majority of people who use our product really see some tremendous benefit, even with some very advanced health challenges.
Yeah, very good. Samantha, of course, as you know, has just gone through a pregnancy, and it was extraordinary from the moment of conception. The conception, in fact, was good, but I mean, from the moment of conception on, she really had if there was a perfect pregnancy, she had it, and then gave birth to a remarkably alert and active and vibrant infant. There was some question at the outset of her pregnancy whether she should be using CBD or not. She did, and the reason we don't know what the outcome would have been had she not used CBD. She did, and the outcome was great. Do you have any thoughts about CBD and pregnancy or not?
Well, yes, I should mention here that, of course, mother's breast milk is very cannabinoid rich. So actually the first food that the infant gets is very rich in these cannabinoids. And of course, when you get breast milk, it's very natural. Many artificial or replacement milks don't really have the cannabinoid content, and thus we really believe that in the future we will have a regimen, and we like to believe a recommended daily allowance for people at 50 milligrams a day is exactly what you need. Now for pregnant mothers and all that, we like to think maybe 100 milligrams or so a day, just again to not only supplement their systems, but it's also going to feed through to the child. We've even seen in some very interesting research, country of Jamaica, where you have a lot of very impoverished people, but the mothers who actually take a cannabis oil during their pregnancy, even though the genetics and all are not particularly good, the quality of health is kind of low, the development not anywhere near where we are here in the U.S. But these children, they're seeing when they're born, they've had this cannabis oil. The mothers had. All of a sudden seem to be so much different from the parents because they're actually alert, they're intelligent at a much higher level than you would naturally expect. So it's actually helping, we believe, to overcome some genetic tendencies. So with this, I just like to believe at some point that this is going to be the future standard of pregnancy care. And of course, we're trying to race ahead of the clock a little bit before some of this, but obviously it's just been great to see Samantha getting on this protocol, and I think the proof's been in the pudding with this wonderful pregnancy that she's had.
Thank you. Another question. Now we also, prime time for our families, we come into this question of immunizations. And I heard you talking once about the fact that each family is going to determine to immunize or not immunize. But I heard you talk about using the detox bath soap for a child being immunized. Can you comment on that or not?
Well, certainly this is a thing. I'm not a big fan of vaccinations, even though it's now mandatory here in the state of California. I've really seen so many unfortunate situations where you've had a very healthy, normally developing child all of a sudden go in for these vaccinations in the doctor's office, and next thing you know, they're autistic, they're having epilepsy, seizure disorders, and the rest. I mean, my gosh, you look at the, risk, reward, benefit, whatever, it's a difficult situation. But I think certainly there's some toxic effects to these vaccinations. With a child, you want to try to pull that out of the body as quickly as you can, because these heavy metals, once they start to lodge inside the cell, are very difficult to bring forth and detoxify. Many people have to go in for significant chelation therapy sessions, etc. And to try to save the child from this, if we're going to unfortunately have to vaccinate a child, my gosh, well, let's try to do all you can. Give them some CBD, of course, and get them on the detox bath soap so they can hopefully pull this out and just move to that higher level of health and wellness.
Great.
But,
Thank you.
Before the vaccination, I'd also recommend a good dose of CBD as well, just to get the body's immune system up, and certainly to supplement this large self-regulatory system.
Thank you. Okay, folks, as should be evident to all, those who didn't know, Stuart Titus is a gift to us all, a treasure of our company, and he speaks very eloquently about the cannabinoids themselves and about specific product ideas and how they can impact individuals. Taking off your scientist hat for a moment and putting on your entrepreneur, your business hat, share with us for a moment your vision of what the future can be for MJNA, for Kannaway, as you look, just throw your eyes down the road a decade and tell us what you see.
Well, certainly there's a growing acceptance throughout the world of these cannabinoids, particularly the non-psychoactive cannabinoids, CBD. Definitely, when we have acceptance in the countries such as Brazil and Mexico, who were very anti-cannabis previously, they did not make a distinction between hemp and marijuana. Everything was kind of lumped into one. Now they see the benefit of the non-psychoactive cannabinoids. We think this is going to just continue to grow throughout the world, and certainly as greater acceptance happens, as some clinical research comes in. I mean, my gosh, if we could develop a specific CBD-based medication that's going to have an impact on maybe 50, 75% of your diabetes patients, my gosh, that's just going to put us into oblivion. And then we have so many other indications. I mean, we may come up with something specific for cancer, of course, something specific for epilepsy, other potential indications for Alzheimer's disease. I mean, we're truly looking to rewrite the face of neurological medicine. About 40% of all doctors' visits are because of some neurological disorder. So I really think the future is extremely bright. I think, again, everything here is just at such a ground stage level. Give this 5 or 10 years, my gosh, we could just be sitting on, everyone who gets in today, just think a rising tide lifts all ships, so to speak. So certainly very excited about the future.
Okay. Folks, I cannot overstate how magical I think this moment is. And as we come now to the conclusion of these 3 separate presentations, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they were done specifically to try to respond to every question, to try to respond to every issue, to help you know all that you have to know to say, yes, this is clear, it's obvious, this is something that I not only want to do, but that I need to do for the benefit of people I love and care about, for my family, both financially and from a health standpoint. I'm hoping these sessions have gone a ways towards getting you across those bridges. I would like to reiterate and remind you all that we have a promotion going on. We are unique to the direct selling industry in that our products are already extremely aggressively priced. In some cases, I think they're remarkably inexpensive. But nevertheless, until today, midnight California time only, the company is offering discounts on 3 of the enrollment packs. The Junior Executive Pack has a $25 discount that will end tonight at midnight. The Executive and Executive Pure Packs have $75 discounts that will end tonight at midnight. And remarkable to me, I'm very surprised to even be saying this, but the Total Product Experience Pack has a $200 discount that expires tonight at midnight. My greatest encouragement to any of you who are today looking at our business is to invite you, if you did not participate in the first 2 sessions, Friday, Saturday, review the Friday session, review the Saturday session. That information in combination with this information is, in my estimation, all that one could possibly need to see. It's all that one could possibly need to understand for this to crystallize, to catalyze, and to become actionable. If you are not yet involved with our business, I extend to you my personal invitation for you to get involved. I will share just a moment of my vision and add it to Stuart's. Today we have a company that is on a straight-up tear, an absolute straight-up tear, and yet in an infant moment. Over the course of the next 12, 18, and 24 months, we will become a company that is well known, will be a recognized brand in the United States, and we will begin a very aggressive, well thought out, properly orchestrated international expansion. We have here an opportunity to improve our own health, to improve the health of people we love and care about, to improve the health of people we've not yet run into, because there are so many. We have a chance to earn a part-time income. We have a chance to replace our full-time income. There is a legitimate possibility to break through to new levels of financial success that would simply be not possible in almost anything else that we might associate ourselves with. My final thought is this. For those of you who have a relatively larger vision, cash flow is great, cash flow is important, that's what pays the bill. A wise steward and manager will take some of that cash flow and reinvest it. I think something that's extraordinarily wise is to involve ourselves with all of the energy we possibly can such that we can participate in the company's stock program. There is a chance to generate wealth, real wealth, over the course of the next decade. This company has created an extraordinarily lucrative brand ambassador stock participation program. It doesn't require a very big business to participate. We can earn up to 2.4 million shares in company equity by the end of this year. Big task, but we can do it again next year, and there is no time on what we can accomplish. So, Stuart, I want to thank you very much for being here with me today. I appreciate your friendship and all you do.
Thanks so much.
Everybody, we are lucky. We are lucky, lucky, lucky. Let's act upon this moment of great good fortune. God bless you all, and I'll talk to you soon.